Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Trust your night was great. Thank you guys for joining us for the final day of EBL 3.0. EBL is Employability, Business, and Leadership. I think I need to say this again. My name is Chidinma. I'm blessed, and I am your moderator for this morning. So, if you're currently online, kindly indicate present in the comment section. Kindly indicate present, please. Thank you very much. Hi, Uti from Kano. Welcome. Good morning, Grace. I'm still waiting for more persons. Thank you. So, guys, welcome again. Today's the last day, and I'm sure. Hello, Victory. Welcome from Lagos. Hi, welcome. So, today's the last day, and so far, so good. I would say personally, this has been amazing. When I say amazing, it's awesome and amazing together. The whole experience has been everything we've learned. On Thursday, we talked about everything about how to be employable. Friday, we talked about business and startups. And here we are today, the last day, the final day. And today is really, 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 really packed. Hi, Oluwafemi. Oluwanifemi, welcome. So, guys, today we have Chidinma Okoli in the house. We have BC Akande. We have Steve Harris. We have Elisha Maman. We have, okay, let me stop there. We just have a lot today. And this morning, we'll be talking about, we'll be learning about financial intelligence for millennials. Really great topic, really great topic. So, our speaker is ready. She's here already. And if you have anybody that's not here yet, please do them a favor and send them the link, the YouTube link that you used to join. Send them the link and let them join us quickly, because we are starting now. Let me get present if you're here. If you can hear me, if you can see me, just say you're active. Let me just see something before I call on the speaker. Okay. Thank you. So, okay, thank you. Welcome. Remember, send the link to your friends if they're not here yet. So, right about now, Chidinma Okoli is here and her bio is coming up right now. The bio of our speaker for this morning. Thank you. Welcome, Mercy. Welcome, Lois. Welcome, Grace. Wow, we have like two Graces here. Welcome, Damilola. Okay, so I guess I'll just have to read the bio from here. Okay, guys, so I guess we have a tech issue. Our speaker, Chidinma Okoli, I'm going to read her bio out now. If you can hear me, let me know. Kindly indicate if you can hear me and you can see me. Welcome, Jessica. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, Chidinma Okoli is an investment professional with 2 years of venture capital experience providing investment support for venture backed startups, leveraging technology to solve some of Africa's problems in financial inclusion, health, and educational sectors. She began her career as an investment analyst, where she worked with the team in the funding and portfolio management of six investee companies. Chidima is passionate about financial literacy and how it can result in reduced poverty levels across Africa. So, she founded Financially Literate Africa, a digital financial education company that provides easy to understand content on managing personal finances and investing for Africa's youth. In 2019, she was honored with the Diana Award in memory of Princess Diana of Wales and Nigeria's 25 under 25 prize in the finance category, both in recognition of her advocacy for financial literacy education in Africa. She's an associate chartered accountant with a bachelor's degree in finance from the University of Lagos and a mini MBA from the Lagos Business School Venture in Management program. Wow, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Miss Chidinma Okoli. Miss Chidinma, you have the floor. Please let's welcome her. I want to see the virtual claps. I want to see the virtual welcome and everything. Please, I'm clapping. I'm clapping. Welcome, welcome.
Hi Chidima, how's it going?
Yeah, we have same names.
Yes,
Oh,
we do
my
have
surname,
similar names.
my surname, and my surname. So, two same name.
Chidima is your surname.
Yes, I get this every time.
Oh my god, I have never heard that before.
Yeah,
Never
yeah,
have I
yeah.
ever heard that
I
before.
know, I know. I get this every time, but irrespective of that, we are still
Or it's your dad's
with.
name.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It is. Anyway, so I can see the virtual claps, Ma. Can you see them? We are all welcoming you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome. Thank you as well for
So
having me.
you have the floor now. You have the floor now.
Oh, okay, so I can just go ahead and start.
Yes, you can go ahead and start. The questions and answer will come after you're done with your session.
Okay, alright, cool, got it. Okay then.
Yes.
Hi everyone. I can't see anybody, so but just assume that people are there watching. Hi
People are
guys,
here.
how's it going? Oh, okay,
You can see
awesome,
the
cool,
comment
cool.
section, yeah?
No, I cannot.
There's a private chat and then there's a comment.
Mm, I haven't
Yeah,
seen
click on
that.
yeah, just click on it and
Oh, okay,
oh
yeah, I think I've seen that now. It has come up.
exactly. Yes. Okay.
All right, cool. Hi everyone. Good morning. How is your weekend going? I mean, or how is your weekend about to start going? Because we're just starting the weekend. Hope you guys had a good week. I'm aware that ASU is still on strike, so I'm guessing most of you are still at home, or maybe just doing whatever it is you're doing. Maybe we work and stuff. Um, But hope you guys are doing okay. Hope you guys are doing great. Thank you first of all to JCI for hosting this amazing event. I was looking at the speaker lineup and I was blown because I'm just like, I wish I had like an event like this in when I was in uni. I mean, I had a couple, but I mean, like, I don't think I really took them very seriously. So I'm just seeing this and just seeing everyone here. I think it's amazing. So thank you to JCI for putting this together and also for hosting me on this session. And thank you to all of you for showing up as well. Because I mean, it's Saturday morning. You can as well be sleeping in your houses, but you're here trying to learn and better yourself. So big ups to you as well. So today I'm supposed to speak to you guys about financial intelligence for millennials, right? Um, and of course, I'll just dive right into that. I'm supposed to speak to 11. and then we'll take questions for about 30 minutes afterwards. Right. So just a bit of of background on me. As the bio already said, I work in finance. I read finance in Unilag. I'm also a chartered accountant, and I currently work in the finance and investment space. But aside all that fancy stuff, I am very, very, very passionate about financial literacy, right? Because I feel like, or I mean, I know that we do not have enough people talking about that, in a way that the average millennial can understand. So we are all young people here. We speak a certain way, we learn a certain way. If a messaging around finance is not taught in a certain way, we might not get it right. And I saw that even as a university student, I saw that even among my peers who were also studying for a finance degree, not everyone understood personal finance, because when you go to school to learn finance, they teach you how to balance accounts for corporate companies, how to do like how to do like a group account and all that fancy stuff. But no one teaches you how to manage your own personal finances, right? And then you see that you go through school, even as a BSc finance student, without learning or without knowing how to manage your own personal finances. And I feel like it is a very interesting phenomenon, because money is something that we all use every single day. Whether you want to learn about it or not, you're going to still spend money every day. We live in a world where money is the currency of the world, like it or not, right? So, whether you're avoiding it or you're going to learn about it, either way, you will still handle money. So why don't you just learn about it, right? So I just felt like there was really no one talking to young people like myself about finance in a way that I would want to understand, in a way that was fun, and in a way that was very, 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 very relatable, right? And that was why I started talking about finance online. So that's the background, yeah. So my approach to talking about financial intelligence is very, 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 it's very chilled. It is very interpersonal. It is very relatable, because I feel like that is the only way that we're going to learn about it, right? So I'm going to drop all, I won't be using any fancy big words as is per course in the finance industry. I'm bringing it down to everyone's level so that we can understand, because the goal here is for us to live here being a better person and becoming more financially intelligent. Awesome. So first off, what does financial intelligence even mean? Let's start from there, right? So for me, it just means knowing how money works, right? It just means having the right knowledge, right? Or just understanding how or how money works, knowing how to make your money work for you. Once you understand that, you're financially intelligent. It does not mean having all the money in the world, It does not mean having all the assets in the world. No, it just means that you understand how money works. It means that your knowledge is in tuned, right? You understand how money works. And here is why it is very important. It's critical because in life is in seasons, right? In life, you would always, even if you're very rich today, tomorrow you might lose all your money, right? It's very, very normal. If you read the biography of most of the wealthiest people in the world, at one point or another, they lost their money, right? But because they're financially intelligent, they're able to get it back up. I'll give you an example of the man that has been trending in the past couple of days. Otedola, right? So he has been trending because he bought his daughter's three Ferrari and all that stuff. But most people don't know that he actually had some challenges. There's a time when he actually lost all his money and he was bankrupt, right? And but today, couple of years down the line, he's able to, he's back. He has his wealth back. He's able to buy 3 cars for his daughters, cash, right? So the reason why he's able to do that is because he's financially intelligent. He knows how money works, right? So when you know how money works, even if you lose your money today, you're not very worried because you know that you have the skills and knowledge to get your money back. And that is what I want to teach you guys today. It's not just about investing in random stuff. It's about having the knowledge. It's about knowing how money actually works. It's about learning the principles such that once you have that knowledge, you can always use it whenever something happens. And like people always say, like, your knowledge is your biggest asset. So when you invest in your knowledge, right, you actually invest in something that will keep on paying you in return, because the knowledge can never leave it. It is your own. Once you know it, you know it. You can lose your money today because of, let's say, the economic issues, but your knowledge is yours, and you can always use that to replicate or to grow your wealth back. So it is super important, right? And that is why this quote is very dear to me, which says invest in your knowledge, right, before investing your money. It is critical to me because You can invest in your money today, and then by tomorrow you lose everything. But if you invest in your knowledge, it is already with you, and you're able to go forth and do great things, regardless of how the economy is looking, right? So basically, FI to me just means having the knowledge about how money works, right? And knowing how to use it, right? That is simply what it means to me. So for today's discussion, I'll talk about FI, which is financial intelligence, in three ways, right? Because if, for me, it is like it is a whole way of life. It's not only about your money, it is about how you live, how you make your life decisions, about the career path of business that you decide to go do, even about the people that you move around with. Like, it is an entire lifestyle, right? It's not just only about your money, it is about your entire, like, basically how you live life as a whole. The goal is for you to live a financially intelligent life, in whatever you do, right? So I'm going to talk about it today from three main areas, FI as it relates to your personal development, because that is also very critical. Number two, as it relates to your work or your career, and then as it relates to your money, right? So those are the three parts that I would want to talk about today. So how does it relate to your personal development? This is also very critical. We are all young people currently. We are all like at the beginning stages of our lives. As people always say, your 20s is your best year yet, right? Because this is the year where you kind of like get to build your foundation, build who you want to be into the future. Most times, as a teenager, most times you probably live with your parents, and then you don't really have a say in your life decision. But as you get into your 20s, maybe as you leave school and then you start to work, you start to make so many decisions about your life, right? So you basically, your life is in your hands. And what you do in your 20s actually determine how your 30s and your 40s will look like. So if you create a solid base or a solid foundation in your 20s, it just means that in your 30s, you're already positioned to live a really good life. In the same vein, if you waste your 20s, it means that in your 30s, you'll be playing catch up. Now, I'm not saying that if you miss out on your 20s, you cannot catch up in your 30s or whatever. No, you have people that have still living life in their 50s. And like, I mean, as a local adage says, whenever you wake up, it's your own morning, right? So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you already know now, why wait until 30 or 40? Like, why wait until then and then start to regret? If you're already enlightened now, why don't you just start, and just start creating a life that you want to live, right? So I always feel like people that are 20 somethings, like, they have the best advantage because they have enough time, to figure out what they want to do and to start working on it. So one thing that is very critical as it's something is your personal development. It is very critical. It also determines how far you will go in life, right? It determines what you will do in life. It determines the rooms that you will be in, like your personal development. If you do not develop yourself, you might end up, trying to play catch up again, right? And we live in a world that is fast, that is constantly developing, right? So even just this year alone, pre-COVID and post-COVID already, things have changed. Like, there's so many skills that are no more relevant, so many jobs that are no more relevant in a post-COVID world, right? So we live in a world that is always changing every single time. How can you position yourself to be in a place where even when the world changes, you're still valuable, you're still relevant? And that is why I'm talking about your personal development, right? A quote also says, like, what, invest in your personal development, it pays the best return. And in my opinion, I feel like when you invest in yourself, it pays you a higher return than even when you invest your money. Because money is very fleeting. Money can come and go. That's just the way it is. Money is like a stream, it's always flowing somewhere, right? So today it can come to you, tomorrow it can leave you. Is it like a cycle of life? But when you invest in your personal development, you're investing in something that will keep on paying you return, because you're filling your brain and your body and your whole being with stuff that will help you, that will help you create more ideas, that will help you do so many amazing stuff. So I cannot say this enough. And as a young person, as a student, how can you invest in your personal development? I see this a lot with many students, where when they go to school, they focus solely on their studies, which is great. You want to have a first class, awesome, good for you. Awesome, happy for you. That's a great thing to do. But do you guys know that when you leave school and when you come out to the world of work, most times, for most jobs that you want to maybe apply to with your first class, most jobs, the minimum requirement is a first class or a 2-1. Do you guys know that, right? So someone that has a 3.5 and you that had a 4.8, you guys will probably get the same job. You can, and funny enough, what that just helps you, that only just helps you get into the door, right? Your GPA. It doesn't really give you the job, because what gives you the job is your experiences and your skills that you've garnered over the years, right? So when you focus solely on just having a 4.0 or a 5.0 in school without also building out your skills, you see that when you get into the world of work, it might actually affect you. And I have so many stories. I have colleagues, I have classmates that I know, that were focusing just on school for their life. They're doing amazing now, but I'm just saying that when you live like that, that's right. For most interviews, the first part is just like, okay, you know what, come and then apply, and that's where your CGPA gets you into. After you apply, what kind of like gets you the job is now is how you're able to sell yourself, how you're confident, how you're able to sell your experiences as well. Now, if you're someone that, let's say you have a 5, 5.0, all right, but then you don't have any other experience aside your school experiences, and there's someone else that has like a 3.8, but that person had spent time in school, developing themselves, and that person has more experiences than you, chances are that person would get the job, and then you with the 4.5 or whatever doesn't get the job. What I'm just saying here is that as much as you're focusing on school, also focus on reaching out your extracurricular activities, right? And that is why I'm so happy for a platform like JCI, because I know that it kind of like helps students, develop themselves, right? So ensure that if you're maybe like not a JCI member, or you're just probably like a guest, ensure that you join. There's so many school bodies that do amazing things. But when I was in school, I was in ISEC, right? There's ISEC, there's JCI, there's enactors. There are so many of them. These bodies are bodies that are global and well known. Let me give you an instance. When I finished school, the first job that I got, in fact, even up till now, right, up till now, most jobs that I go for, most interviews that I go for, one of the things that actually make the interviewer like me is because I have ISEC on my CV, right? So I've gone to many interviews where like the interviewer was either an ISEC in school, or maybe they know someone that was an ISEC. And because ISEC is a global body, same as JCI as well, it just means that anywhere you go to, you're probably going to find an alumni that can speak for you, right? So you want to have those kind of names on your CV. People just assume that, okay, if this person was a part of ISEC or JCI, or whatever in school, it means that they kind of like some level, they kind of like have experience, or they kind of like think is certain way, which is what the work world is looking for, right? So try to like join all those bodies. Don't just focus only on school. Focus on getting that as well. If you can, also try to intern or volunteer, right? So look for companies that need interns and say, you know what, I don't even mind doing it for free, right? Let me just intern, right? I mean, it can even be like a virtual intern. The goal is that you want to be able to grow, to build out your CV as a student, such that when you leave in school, you already have enough experience to go into the world. Because I mean, most times now we see many jobs that say, oh, you know what, entry level, but then with 2 years of experience. You're referring to experience that is gained throughout school. The people that throughout their school year, every summer holiday, they are interning, right? So by like year 4 or year 5, they've kind of like gotten 4 years of experience already, that kind of like helps them to now go into the world of work. So you don't want to just focus on only school, right? School is great, but just try to balance it out. Focus on also interning, getting work experiences. If you can as well, try to also volunteer for events as well, and then kind of like help you, like to form you into a human being that is way more diverse, that thinks more widely, because sometimes school can make you think in just one particular way. So you want to have like a much more varied way of thinking, and that is what doing all these things does for you. And all this actually ties back into FI, because guess what, the kind of job that you get after school, or the kind of work that you choose actually affects your earning power, right? So when you're investing in yourself, when you're learning critical skills, you're learning skills that are very relevant, right? It means that you're also trying to also increase your earning potential, and it still affects your finances, right? So it is still a win-win. So try to kind of like wrap up this point. Try to also invest in your personal development, right? Try to also focus on how can I better myself aside just academic. How can I focus on other extracurricular things that will kind of like boost my CV, that will give me a much more varied experience, right? And just to wrap up with that, don't say that, I don't have time for that. Trust me, we all have time. Like, we have time for what we prioritize, right? So think about, what will kind of like help me go from point A to point B. When you leave school today, you and all your classmates are on the same level, right? The world of work is very small. There are like one or two job positions, or even if you want to go into businesses, right? There are very limited openings for for everybody that leaves school every single year. How can you get skills that will position yourself above your regular peers? And trust me, these skills and names on your CV that kind of like helps you, that gives you an edge over others. So try to invest in that now. It will help you as you go on. So my second point was around FI as it relates to your work or your career or your business, or whatever. In the world today, like, we all have, we all have skills, right? So while in school, what is valued is maybe is how you're able to cram, or pour, or whatever. In the world of work, what is valued is what skills do you have? What can you do, right? What skills and expertise do you bring to work? Because at work, you are, what's the word now? You are appraised based off the skills or what you can do or what you can deliver at work, not just your ability. Because in school, in at work, you're not writing tests or exams, so no one's going to test like what you read a couple of years ago. Most likely, what you even learned in school is probably obsolete if you went to like a regular federal government school like I did, right? So you want to have skills that are employable, right? In the world of work, career, business, or whatever. When it comes to skills, there's something called high value and low value skills, right? The WEF, World Economic Forum, they usually release a global report or outlook of skills that are, that are declining and skills that are increasing every year. So it's like a kind of like skills book that shows you, okay, these skills are actually declining and these skills are actually increasing. If you look at the one that was, I think I saw the one for 2019, you'll see that skills like PowerPoint, or like skills like, let's say, account, like very, very, very basic skills. And I don't want to call any skills so that, it doesn't feel like I'm attacking anybody. But you see that the world has kind of like moved from like the regular skills to more advanced skills, things like critical thinking, things like problem solving, things like leadership, right? These are skills that the world now needs more, because we live in a world that is becoming more and more complex. We need people that are able to solve problems, people that are able to think out of the box, and then provide ideas that are innovative, that can solve the world's complex issues, right? These are skills that are becoming more relevant. How are you positioning yourself to get these skills? Because these are the skills that are in high value. And trust me, the currency for skills is money, right? When you have skills and then you bring it to work, people pay you money for your skills. That's the value, like that's the value exchange. Everything still ties back to finances, right? So it means that if you're able to acquire high level skills, it means that you're going to able to also you're also going to be paid, high level money in that sense, because people that have these skills are most times always like very scarce. Like, not everybody has the skills. So if you're someone that have these skills, it means that you're able to demand for more value, more money basically in exchange for these skills, right? And that's why when you look at people that are doing very, very, very well in their career and earning really, really good money, or even in their business, they are delivering high quality value, right? They are focusing on a niche area and they're delivering value there that most people cannot deliver. So my question to you today is that how are you trying to get, skills that are very high level, that are in demand, skills that not just anybody can get it, right? I'm not saying that you should go and learn how to maybe like go learn how to go to mass. No, I'm just saying that focus on skills that are very critical, like complex problem solving, like even AI, machine learning, like skills that are, and it doesn't, and funny enough, the way technology is built up these days, it doesn't even have to be your let's say if you're not like in a tech field, if you're like, let's say maybe you're in accounting or you're in finance or even engineering field, or even medicine, you don't have to leave and then go. You can apply tech to anything these days. Trust me, tech can be applied to finance, medicine, engineering, whatever have you. Tech, anything that you want to do in life, tech can be applied to it, right? So tech is an enabler, right? So think about, how can I use technology to like, how can I use that to kind of like push my skills further, or how can I use that to deliver my skills in a way that is better than the average person, right? I'll give you an instance. There used to be like a woman couple of years ago. I think her name was Wanye Akamo. So I can't remember now. Akamo is like an Igbo word for pap, or like, yes, pap, what we drink. Is pap the English word? I hope so. So if you walk down your regular street, there's so many people selling pap, on the road. So many people, like roadside women and men, selling pap on the road, right? But this woman became known for pap because of how she packaged her own and leveraged technology, right? She would usually go and deliver at high level events, hotels, big conferences, even out of Nigeria as well. Now, what was different between her own pap and the regular person's pap on the road? Basically, how she packaged it, right? How she sold it, right? She leveraged technology. She built an online platform to sell her pap in a way that people could even like relate to and make it more attractive, right? So it just means that whatever skills you have, it doesn't have to be something very, very fancy. How can you think? How can you be innovative? How can you use tech to push that? And I talk about tech a lot because tech is actually the future, right? I also work in the tech space, and I've seen that even for regular companies, they're now pivoting to tech-enabled companies because without tech, you cannot scale, and that's just the truth, right? So as a student, how are you looking for skills that like, okay, these skills are skills that in the next 10 years, these skills will still be valuable? Think about that, and then try to kind of like get those skills, because when you are going to work or even in your business, those are skills that will kind of like help you, in whatever you're doing. Those skills as skills that will kind of like help you earn more money, basically, right? So think about high level skills. Don't just look for like a random, if you want, if you can have passion project, of course, but if you want to like build a career or a business that you will really kind of like that you kind of like want to use to increase your earning potential, you need to think about skills or career fields or even industries that are in demand, right? And just doing like a random Google search will kind of like also help you find those parts or those industries or those skills. So just do not just like don't sleep on that. Try to find out, okay, these parts that I want to go into in the next 5 to 10 years, would it still be relevant? If it won't be, if it won't be relevant, how can I get other skills that kind of like make me relevant? Because you don't want to be obsolete. That's what you don't want. When you look at even in the past, the regular telephone and now mobile phone. At the point in time, telephone was like the big deal, right? But when mobile phone came, it kicked telephone out. And now, people that own telephones or people that had built their company around telephone, they became bankrupt, right? So you don't want to do that. So as a young person, think about, don't just pick a random skill or a random career path. Think about this part that I'm going into. How can I use this career path? How can I pick a career path or even a business? That will be that in the next 10 years it will be relevant. Also try to like live a life that is dedicated to learning, because even when you pick a career path, a path that is relevant, as you go on in life, you would also have to continuously upskill yourself, because no man is an island. You must keep on learning every single day. So even as you choose that path, always stay learning, right? Think about what is the new things these days, thank God we have, what's it called, we have Google and YouTube. Think about like, what is the new skill, like what is the thing that is in my space or in my industry? What is like the new thing? What is like the next level thing? And how can I learn that, right? So when you have that kind of growth mindset, you will see that you always keep on growing and you keep on learning the skills that are relevant, and then you continue being a person of relevance. And like I said earlier, the reward for value, or skills in our world is money. So it still ties back to your finances, right? So that is that on my second point. Now, to my third point, money, right? Because like I said earlier, FI is actually it's a lifestyle. It covers everything that you do. It's not just only about your money. It's also about your skills and your experiences. But now back to money. When it comes to money, how do you manage your money in a way that you're able to like create a life that you enjoy, and a life that will be okay, like a life that kind of like speaks to what you want for yourself. Now, when it comes to money, I see many people having this very, very, very interesting idea or notion that not everyone can be wealthy, or I was born into poverty, so I can't really be wealthy and all that stuff. So the thing is that, right, again, like I said earlier, principles, right? the principles of money remains the same. It remains the same across board. When you follow, it's like a book, a playbook of sorts. When you follow the principles of money, you're able to, make money regardless, right? It doesn't matter whether you're born in a poor family or not. Money is basically it's like a stream that keeps on flowing, right? So when you follow the principles of money, right, you're able to attract it basically, right? And the principle of money just says that give value and then money will come to you. People pay for value. End of story. Look at all the people look at the wealthiest people in the world. They're giving value of some sort, from Facebook's founder to Amazon to Tesla and all of them. They give value of some sort. That's how people are able to pay them. Either they built a business that provides value to people, to users, or maybe they kind of like bought asset that also goes up in value. But basically, value is the currency of the world, and when you're a valuable person, or when you have value to give, the reward for that is actually money. So now back to the principles of money management, right? So for me, it's like five major things, right? The first thing is to track your expenses, which I will talk about again in detail. Track your expenses, have a budget and live by it. Save your money, invest your money, and then protect your money as well. So I mean, those are like the five building blocks for anybody who wants to get their financial life in order. Tracking your expenses. What does that mean? Basically, I don't know if anyone has ever had this experience before. Let's say maybe you kind of like receive your personal allowance or salary or whatever have you, and then let's say towards the end of the month, or maybe just even mid month, you realize that your money has finished, and you're like, where did my money go to? Like, is someone else spending my money with me? Like, how is my money? Like, how does my money disappear? Do you get? I don't know if anyone has had that experience, but that's something that most people can relate to, because it feels like, what, like I had X amount in my account, and now today I have zero. How did that money go? Like, how did that money disappear? And the reason why you're asking that question is because you do not track your expenses. Now, what does that mean? It just simply means that you know where your money is going to part time. The same way you track your goals or you track other things that you do. If you don't track something, you cannot tell. You cannot monitor, because you don't even know where it's going to, right? So it is very, very critical to track your expenses, because when you're able to track your money, you're able to say, okay, my money is going to XYZ thing, right? Unlike when you don't track it, and then you can't even tell, where it is going to at all. I'll give you an instance, right? So let's say, for instance, you have 10K in a month, and that 10K you just spend anyhow. Like, you just give your friend money, you just buy things, just you don't have a plan for that money, right? You will see that before you know, that money has disappeared, and you're back to square zero, and you're saying that, what, like I had 10K like yesterday, but today I have zero amount in my account. What happened? You don't really know, because you're not tracking your expenses. Basically, to track your money just means that having like a book, or it could be a book, or it could be a app, or or even like a regular notepad that says that, okay, what, today I spent money on ABC. You write that down. Tomorrow DEF, and you also write that down. The whole idea is such that you're able to see clearly where your money is going to, and you're able to kind of like cut down on areas where you don't want to keep spending on. For instance, let's say, when I was in uni, for instance, I used to like Coke a lot, Coke the drink, and I used to spend so much money on Coke. But I never knew that, right? Apparently, I used to like buy like at least 3 Cokes in a day, but I never knew that. So what I meant was that, a Coke was like 100 naira for a bottle. What I meant was that in a week, I'm spending like almost 1.5 on just Coke, right? And that's money that I could have used to like do my own other things, like maybe put it towards a goal that I'm working towards, right? But I never even knew that I was spending like 1.5 every single month, every single week, which is like 6K in a month on just buying Coke, because I wasn't tracking my expenses, right? And then one day I was like, what, Chidinma, how come your money always finishes? Like, what do you actually even do? And then I was like, okay, I'm going to start tracking my everyday spending to see actually what I spend money on. And that's when I now saw that actually I was spending so much money on Coke, In fact, on some days I'll buy like maybe up to 5 in a day. And I just never knew that, right? And then after I now they're tracking it, I was able to see that, okay, Chidinma, you actually need to stop spending, stop spending so much money on this thing, and then try to, put the money somewhere else. But if I did not do that exercise, I would have never known that I was spending so much money on buying coke as well. That's why it's like critical to always track your expenses, right? You might be, I mean, for you it could be data or even airtime or just maybe something, or maybe even something as simple as chips, right? That you're spending so much money on, but you might never know because you don't track it, right? And then you're wondering how come my money is always disappearing. It is because of your spending habits, right? So try to always track your expenses. I mean, these days there are apps that can help you do that. There are different apps. There's an app called Reach. There's another app called Spending Tracker also that can help you do that easily, right? So you don't have to kind of like do it yourself. But just ensure that even if you don't want to use an app, even if you want to use like a regular Excel sheet or even a notebook, try to ensure that you're tracking your expenses because it will kind of like really help you see areas where you're overspending and then areas that you need to cut down on. I had worked with someone before who told me that, oh, you know what, her money always finishes before the end of the month, and then she could not invest her money because of she didn't have enough money, according to her. When we now went through her daily spending, we now saw that she was spending so much money on something else that was really, really insignificant. But that money was piling up, right? It was snowballing into something big. And when we saw that leak, sort of, because it's like you're pouring water into an empty basket. When we kind of like close the tap and saw that leak, she was able to start investing her money because now she now had like money that was before now it was going to something that was not significant. Now she could now use that money to invest. So the next time you say that, oh, you know what, I don't have money to invest or I don't have money to save, think about, what are there areas where I'm spending on, that I can actually cut down on and I put that money towards investing for my goals. That's something that you want to probably think about. So the second thing was around, having a budget. That also ties closely into the whole idea of, or the whole idea of tracking your expenses. Basically, when you have a budget, it just means that you have a plan for your money, right? Like you know where your money is going to part time. The same way we all set goals, like, okay, at the beginning of the year, we're like, okay, this year I want to do XYZ thing. That's the same way we also set goals for our money, right? Or like set a plan for your money. When you don't budget, you tend to overspend because you don't even have a plan that you're kind of like they're kind of like following, right? So when you don't budget, you just overspend, just like you just spend without any care, because you don't have a plan, basically. And that is not good because if you're going to say you want to kind of like increase your wealth or you want to grow your money, you need to be able to spend responsibly. And you can only do that if you have a budget or a plan for your money. If you don't know where your money is going to, you cannot really plan for it. So simply put, it is basically a simple tool or a simple plan that says that, my money should go to XYZ place. Now, at the beginning of the month, you can just say that, what's okay, my monthly income is, let's say, 5K. I want to spend X amount of 5K on food, Y amount on transportation, X amount on clothing, and so on. It can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be anything very complex. It can be as simple as saying that, okay, this is my money, like this is my annual income, and this is how much I want to spend on each spending category, right? So feeding, internet, airtime, transport, clothing, gifts to family, going out, and so on, right? When you have that at the beginning of the year and then you put an amount to it, it means that you're able to kind of like so during the month, as you're spending money, you have in your mind that, okay, Chidinma, I have this plan, like I have this limit, like I have this monthly limit to spend on food, right? So you're able to kind of like tailor your spending towards that. Unlike when you don't even have any limits at all. So you just keep on spending anyhow, and then before you know it, your money has actually finished, right? So having that budget, which is like a monthly limit, in your head, kind of like helps you spend responsibly again, right? So it just touches that, what, I have only 5K to spend this week on food, so I better spend well or spend wisely. I have only 3K to spend on data, so when I typically go and watch, let's say, 10 YouTube videos in a day, I'll probably like watch maybe only 3 or 4, so that my data can last longer because I have only X amount to spend on data, right? So when you have all that check in place, it kind of like helps you spend wisely. And what are does for you that it kind of like allows you to have more income, like, and now use towards saving and investing, because if you don't have money, you cannot save, right? And for most times, the reason why we can't save money is because maybe we are spending too much on something else, right? And that kind of like fits into why you cannot really save money. But then when you start to like live your life by a budget, you now kind of like see areas where, okay, you know what, where you're like, you know what, I can actually cut down here and then spend, and then put that money towards my savings, right? Also, there's also something called, you know, paying yourself first, and I'll talk about that more in the points for savings. But it just means that you actually have a budget for savings as well. So the same way in your budget you have like your expenses of like things that of like things that you usually spend money on in a month, or in a week, or you know, or whatever. You also have like a line for savings. So let's say you have your your feeding, your housing, your clothing, etc., and so on. You also have a line for savings. Why you need to actually budget for your savings is because if you don't do that, you might end up not saving money, right? But when you make your savings an expense that is also as critical or as important to you as feeding, it then means that you're also able to allocate some part of your income, you know, towards that, right? So I'll just move on to savings now. So when it comes to savings as well, people usually tell me that, oh, you know what, I'm a student, or I'm still in university. I don't make so much money, so I cannot save money. And to that, I always say that the whole idea of saving is not about how much you save. It is like it is basically about the habits that you learn. You know, in saving money. So basically, when it comes to saving, it is more about like the habits that you form, because you know what they say about the way you spend 1,000 naira is the same way you spend 1 million naira. It's so true. When you start working and then you start to earn money, you might now see that because maybe you've been spending, like just spending anyhow. When you're earning 1K, you might take the same attitude towards your 1 million, and then before you know it, you're broke. I know people that earn so much money in it, like in a month, from other different endeavors, but yet before the end of the next month, they're already broke because they're not like they don't spend wisely, right? It just means that if you don't from the habit of saving money now, that you're still young and still earning, you know, little money, I suppose. When you start earning so much money, you will still not have that habit of saving. That is why the whole idea of saving is not about just how much you save. It is about the habits that you learn. You know, when you form the habit of every month saving something, it doesn't matter how much you save, right? Remember, the goal is to form the habit, and the only way you form the habit is by doing something consistently. When you form that habit of saving every single month, now that you're a student, when you start working, I mean, it will be almost like second, like it almost becomes like a second, you know, second thing to you. So okay, you know what, I've gotten my salary. First and first, go and save X amount of money, right? So, but if you don't form that habit now as a young person, you will struggle when you start earning so much money. So when you say that, oh, I don't have money to save, it doesn't have to be. People usually assume that, I must save like 10 million naira in one day. No, you start from small and then you grow from there. So start small and then grow from there. It can be saving 100 naira every single month. It don't matter, right? It just matters that you're forming that habit, you know, towards savings. That is what will kind of like help you as you go. Again, back to what I said about having the principles in check. When you form that habit of saving 100 naira from a 1K or from a 10K, when you now start earning, like, let's say 1 million, let's say in a year, or whatever, you're able to save 10K because you've already formed the habit of saving 100 naira every single day, right? So it's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you save, right? And it's also about how much. It's also about the habits that you form, you know, in your youth now as a student. So don't say, oh, I don't have money to save. Trust me, like you can save 100 naira like in a month, right? You can save something as small as that, right? As long as you just form it habit, and then when your income when your income also kind of like goes up or also increases, then you can also increase your savings, right? So also on savings, where should you save your money? Because I mean, money again, money always has somewhere to go, right? So if you keep your savings in your regular savings account, where you typically spend from, you might see that you might end up spending that money which was meant for savings, you know, on something else, right? So it is always best to save your money in an account that is different from, you know, from your regular spending account. I mean, today we have banks, you know, banks that offer you savings options, or you even have like fintech apps, like, you know, there's so many of them. I don't want to call any names, but like there's so many fintech apps today in Nigeria that actually allow you to save money small, small. So the whole idea is that in case you're someone like who does not have the discipline to save money on their own, on those apps, once you like just put like, okay, you know what, on this day of the month, take out this amount from my account. The app just helps you does that every single month, and then they help you save the money. And then when you meet your targets, you're able to go and withdraw your fund. So if you're someone that finds it very hard to save money, that could actually be a good way for you to start saving money by by making use of apps, that help you do that. Also, note that when saving money, you also need to have a savings goal, which is very critical, because if you don't have a goal for something, you might not follow through with it, right? Because I mean, there are days when you might not feel like saving money because I mean, maybe you just have some other things that are more pressing to you at that time that you think are. So, but when you have a savings goal, it kind of like helps you. It helps you. It helps you kind of like keeps you focused on the goal, which is like where you're going to. It's like saying that, okay, I have a goal that I want to buy a new laptop at the end of the year because I will be getting a new job soon, and I need a laptop to practice, like, let's say, PowerPoint or even Excel skills, right? That is a goal. When you have that kind of goal, you're able to stay focused and then keep on saving your money because you have an end goal in mind. Unlike when you just saving money for like a random, like, you don't have any reason why you're saving money, right? You might end up just spending the money because you're like, you know what, I mean, you don't have a goal either way, so why am I struggling, or like why am I bothering myself, right? So have a savings goal. It is very important, it's very critical because it actually helps you stay tuned or stay focused on your goal, right? So I mean, your goal could be for anything. It could be, let's say, maybe to kind of like pay for a online course. It could be maybe to, let's say, pay for your school fees. Maybe if your parents aren't really supporting you with that. It could be for, let's say, a laptop or something, just anything. It could, but just have a savings goal and then have it clearly written down, such that in those days where you feel like, oh, you know what, I don't feel like saving money today, your goal actually reminds you and keeps you focused, on why you're saving money. So have that. It is super important. So I've talked about, having a savings goals, a savings goal, also about how to save money. I mean, where to save money, right? So I'll talk about how to save money. So people usually say that, oh, you know what, how much should I be saving, per time? Now there is no limit, or there's no fixed amount about how much you save, because as human beings, we're all different. We have different income, we have different expenses, we have different lifestyles, right? So I can't tell you how much to save. But people usually say, you know what, okay, save at least from your income, save at least 10% of your income. So let's say if you earn 100K, in a month, save at least 1K, right? I mean, 10K, right? So but I mean, I like to say that it is not compulsory, right? Save as you can save, right? If you're someone that, let's say, you earn 100K in a month, but then maybe because you live very far from work and then you spend almost 80K or 70K on transport, what I mean is that you cannot save 10% of your income because you don't even have enough money to even eat or other stuff. So just save as you can. Think about a what's the word now? A much more, it's not relevant. A much more it has left me. But basically, think about a much more realistic. That's the word. A much more realistic amount that you can save, and then save towards that, right? So don't just say, okay, you know what? Like everyone says that you save at least 10% of my income, so I must go and save that 10%, right? If you can only afford to save just 5%, then that is fine as well, But just ensure that as your income is increasing, also increase your savings as well, because that is how you're going to reach your financial goals faster, right? So to that issue of how much should I save as you can. Do a audit of your financial life and say, you know what, how much can I afford to point in time? I want to go and set a very, very, very high. You know what, I'm ginger. I'll save 10K every month. Meanwhile, you're able to your real saving ability is maybe like only like 2K in a month. So what I mean is that, like, by like the third month, you're already saying that, you know what, I can't keep this up because, like, this money is not even enough for me to cover my daily needs, right? So you want to save, like, you want to put a limit where it is much more realistic to you, such that you're able to keep on doing that into the long term. You don't want to, like, start from a very, very, very high place, and then when you don't now meet it, then you're now discouraged. So it's always best to start from like a smaller amount and then grow up from there. Okay, sorry, I think I lost you guys for a second. I'm not sure what happened. It just went off on my screen. Anyway, so I was talking about I was talking about saving money, and then I was saying that you should try to kind of like start saving from, from is from an amount that is relevant to you, or that is more real to you, and then grow your savings, from there. Now, finally, before I move on to investment, I want to talk a bit about, the whole idea of saving money, and then how, why, and why just putting your money in an account is not enough for you. Now, we all know that we live in a country, or like we live in Nigeria, where we have issues with our economy, right? So from inflation rates to currency devaluation as well, right? So the naira is always losing value, right? And our rate of prices is always increasing, right? So you want to make sure that your money is actually growing, or is constantly working for you. You don't want to, okay, fix this out. You don't want to be in a you don't want to have your money in an account where you're not even earning enough money to kind of like beat the current rate of like the current rate at which prices of goods are actually going up in the country. And that is why it's not enough to just save money, right? You also need to also be investing your money as well, because just when you put your money in an account where they're paying like, let's say, 3% on your savings as interest, in 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 our country today, our current rate of inflation is at about 13%. And what that now means is that when you earn just about 3% on your savings, it means that you're actually losing money about 10%, on your savings. Because I mean, 13 minus 3 is 10. So that means that your money is actually earning just 3% on it, while the economy is growing by 13%. That means you're actually losing money every time that you save your money in a typical savings account. So while it is good to save money, it is like just the first step. It's not like the end goal, right? There's no billionaire that has become rich just by saving money, right? The goal is to kind of like put your money to work for you, such that you're able to invest in assets that kind of like generate income for you, and that grow up in value for you. So that takes me to my first point, which is like to invest in yourself, right? Which is like to invest your money. I mean, yes. So when it comes to investing your money, basically, it just means that you're putting your money in an asset that can grow in value, and then give you more income in the future. As we all know, as human beings, we cannot keep on working forever, right? We all have like we will all grow old. So today you're like 20 something, tomorrow you can be like in your 60s. Your parents were once your age mates, right? Or your parents were once like a 20 something, and now they're like really old and stuff. So it just means that even us as young people, one day we will grow old. And as when you grow old, I mean, you can't keep working every single day of your life, right? You want to be able to have income, or have assets that will kind of like give you money when you're not able to work anymore. And you can only do that by investing today in assets that will kind of like grow, for you over time. So one thing that people always ask me is that, what, okay, as a young person, do I need to have so much money to invest? No, no, you don't. So today, I mean, with as low as 5K, you can invest in so many different things, even here in Nigeria, right? So you don't need to have so much money. Again, back to the whole idea, which I talked about in the savings model, around saying that the whole idea is to start small and then grow from there. You can start investing money with at least 5K, but then as your income grows, you also grow your investment as well, right? But just start somewhere, start from small, and then grow from there. But before you even start putting your money like in assets, you need to also know about your risk profile, right? So as human beings, we all have different risk profiles. We are either low risk, high risk, or medium risk. And you need to know this, because when it comes to investing your money, assets also have different risk profiles as well. So there's some that are low, high, and also medium risk. for instance, if you're like a low risk person, that means you don't have any business putting your money in a high risk assets, right? And so on and so forth. So you need to know your risk profile first of all before even investing your money, because it will kind of like help you choose the right option for you. Another thing is also to like also just to also invest in your knowledge, which I had said before. Because when you invest money blindly, like when you invest in things that you don't even know about, right, you might end up losing your money. A case study is like MMM, right? I mean, then people were saying, you know what, MMM is paying us, you know, high amount of return on our money. And at the end of the day, like everyone, almost everyone literally lost their money because they didn't really understand, you know, what they were investing in. They didn't really ask questions, right? So people usually just gonna say, okay, you know what, oh, my friend told me that if I should invest in this and then I'll get this return at the end of the day or end of the month. Before you go and put your money in anything, always ask and say that, you know what, this thing, what are they actually um like how are they actually getting the money to pay me back my return? Because I mean sometimes you might end up putting your money in stuff where they have no actual like they have no actual assets, you know, that is actually paying you the money back, right? So you want to ensure that you're investing in stuff that is actually legit, in things that actually like in things that actually make sense. Because today we have so many people that say, okay, you know what, come and put your money in my stuff and I'll give you this amount of return at the end of the month. You need to say that, okay, you know what, how do you make money? Who are you? Like, what is your background? In Nigeria today, we have the SEC. The SEC is the body that kind of like regulates all investment. So you want to ask that, okay, is your company SEC licensed? Because if they're not SEC licensed, it then means that if stuff happens tomorrow, you know, there's no one like that you can go and meet to kind of like help you get your money back. So you want to ensure that you do all that research, you know, before actually investing your money. And so when it now comes to actual investing, what can you invest in as a young person? So I mean, again, from the low risk end of it, there are things like treasury bills that you can invest in, or even government bonds. But again, so in Nigeria today, I mean, TBs are like very, very, very low. Like they not pay like a very low interest. So I think some 2 years ago or even last year, the ROI was like as high as 18%, but as of today, it's not like at almost maybe like so even 3% annually, which is really low. But if you're someone that focuses more on just on, let's say maybe you're like a low risk person that you want to just preserve your capital, that's actually like maybe a good place for you to, you know, to go and pack your money in. Also, government bonds as well are things that are kind of like low risk because I mean they're backed by the government, and like the government can never go broke in a sense, right? So if you want to like think about, you know, high risk or like high return assets to invest in, so things like stocks as well. Stocks are actually a very good way to get income, you know, over the long term, right? But with stocks, it just means that you're actually buying shares of a company. But then you know that this company, I mean, it can go either way, right? So that's why the risk is actually really high. But if you pick up, if you pick companies that are much more companies that have a very high potential to grow, then you're able to kind of like, you know, protect your investments. And here's what I mean: if you buy shares of companies like let's say maybe an Apple or even an Amazon, these are companies that have like stood the test of time, like even over like a couple of years now, they're still doing very well. So if you buy companies that are stable, it then means that you're able to kind of like protect your income, you know, from any losses into the future. But also know that when it comes to buying shares and stuff, you're basically buying a long-term asset, because shares are like long-term. So it's not like you don't go and put funds that you need, let's say for your house rent at the end of the year in stocks, because most times in the short term, the stock market is actually very volatile, right? So you want to focus on things that like you want to put like long-term money in the stock market, because it is very volatile in the short term. Aside stocks, you can also invest in agriculture as well. I mean, today in Nigeria, we have like so many companies that are now doing agri crowdfunding, but you also need to be very careful, because these companies, like some of them are like highly unregulated. So you want to be sure that you're actually funding a company that it is well led. And here's what I mean: like, who are the people that are behind it? Again, back to that question, because I mean, you want to be sure that this person actually has experience in maybe farming or even in poultry or whatever they are selling, right? Don't just put your money in anything. Like if someone tells you that, you know what, I'll give you this amount of money on your money, ask them basically, what are you like? What kind of farm are you selling? Like, how do you ensure that the farm, like, do you have people that will buy your farm produce, afterwards? Because if no one buys the farm produce, right, you cannot get your money back. So I mean, when I'm thinking of putting your money in any agri investment, ask all those questions and ensure that you actually know what they are actually farming, or what they're actually producing it, right? There's also housing as well. So I mean, today we have housing is something that everyone needs a house to live in. So what I mean is that when it comes to real estate, it means that, I mean, it would always be here into the future, right? So I mean, when you like kind of like invest in housing, you can maybe say, let's say, buy a house, or maybe just invest in like a building where you kind of like get where you get, like, what's it called now, rental income every single month, or year, as they pay rent to you, which is actually a very good way also of also getting which is also a good way of getting income, passive income, over the course of your life. So just imagine if let's say maybe you have like a building where you kind of like have people that are paying you rent every single year. It means that, like, you have some money coming in, even though you're not actively working, but you have some money coming in every single year. So when it comes to housing, I mean, we as young people, housing might be too expensive for you. So that's why again I say that it's best to kind of like start with things that are cheap and easier, like, government bonds, or even euro bonds as well. To kind of bypass the issue of low interest rates in T-bills and government bonds. You can also invest in what's it called now, euro bonds as well. So basically, they're like government bonds that are based in dollars, not in naira. And what that means is that you're able to get your return in dollar, which kind of like helps you beat the whole currency issue that you're seeing in Nigeria today, right? So, and with, I mean, there's some apps, some apps that actually help you invest in euro bonds and so on in Nigeria, with as low as 5K, or as low as $10, right? Which is like 4 5, or let's say maybe 5K naira as well. So I mean, you can actually try that as well, but just before you actually invest in anything, try to do your research, which is like what I'm trying to push today. Don't just say that, okay, you know what, someone said that I should go and invest in XYZ. Do your research. Try to know what's actually putting your money into. Ask and try to see that who are the guys behind it. Like, are they SEC licensed? Do they have a good track record? Do they have experience in that thing? Right. Ask all those questions before you actually invest your money, such that you're sure that, okay, you know what, I'm actually putting my money in stuff that will actually grow for me over the long term. Also, when it comes to protecting your assets, just, I mean, like I always say, if you just putting your money in an asset is not enough. You want to also ensure that it is actually safe and secure, because if you go and invest in something today, and then your money goes tomorrow, you've actually lost on both ends, right? So you want to make sure that you're also protecting your assets as well. So, which is why I say always ask questions, right? Ask questions, go and do your research, go on Twitter, Google. I mean, just if you just even Google, you see so many reviews about so many asset options, right? So ensure that, aside just putting your money in an investment, you're also trying to protect your money and see that you're getting the best value for your money over the long term. So in a I say wrap up, I would say things that you can actually invest in as a young person is, so let's say, from treasury bills to government bonds, or even euro bond, to stock, to the stock market, and even also as well to what's it called now, farming. Or those are kind of like things that you can do more research on. So again, like I said earlier, as human beings, we all have different risk profile, and all these assets also have their own risk levels as well. So you want to see that you're actually investing in the ones that are in line with your risk, that are in line with your risk profile or your risk level. You don't want to just invest in a random stuff, right? So that you don't lose money, or so that you're able to stomach any loss that comes, right? So that I think I'll just end there and take questions now. From anyone that has questions in the audience. Thank you. I'm blessed. Is she here?
Hi. Hello, I
Oh,
can
awesome.
see.
Yes, I can see it now.
Mhm. So thank you so much for a wonderful and insightful session on how to manage our money, how to save. We really appreciate. Okay, so I have a question. Yeah. Can you hear me,
Okay.
please?
Yes, I
Okay.
can.
Is it wise to save money in the bank?
Is it wise to save money in the bank?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, so it depends on what you're saving for. But how do you mean? Like, do you mean in terms of like interest rates, or you mean in terms of like safety? How do you mean?
But okay, interest rates and safety.
I mean, so when it comes to interest rates, like I said earlier, the banks give a very low interest on your savings, right? Which is like really low. So you can actually, when you go and save with other fintech apps, some give you like way more higher interest rates than the regular banks. So you can go save with them as well, right? Or also even for safety, if you're using like a top bank, most banks have like good safety procedures in place as well. But if you're looking for a higher interest rate, I would say go save in a fintech with a fintech app, because those ones have much more higher interest rates compared to banks. Yeah.
But security wise or safety wise, those fintech apps are not always exactly reliable, are they?
So I mean, for me, right, they're like top two fintech apps that I use or that I recommend, and I'm aware that I mean one currently had some issues, with a strong security platform. There's no way for you to actually know that unless they tell you, right? And then they've come to say that, okay, you know what, we have like a very strong security platform. But I mean, I would say that if you're looking, if you just if you feel like you cannot trust those apps, I mean, you can just go back and then stick with the banks. But just so that you know, even banks have also had security breaches in the past as well. Like they've also had issues of like of let's say loss of funds as well. But just like because the banks are way more bigger, they can afford to like give you your money back ASAP. Unlike a small fintech who is like still kind of like struggling to start, right? So that's kind of like the issue. But I think when it comes to security, I think I mean the fintechs that I use, they're secure, and so I can I can speak to that. But again, I don't want to call any names, right? But if you just feel like you rather be more safe than sorry, then probably you can just stick to banks.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, another one. As your person, how do we have get access to all these stocks, treasury bills, and all of that? Like, where do we go to? How do we go about it? Say we want to invest.
So when it comes to let's say buying stocks or euro bonds or even real estate, there are companies that actually help you do that. I don't know if you guys mind if I drop names. But like this,
Yes,
there's a company
you can
called.
actually drop names. You can actually
Oh,
drop
okay,
names.
awesome. So there's a company called RiceVest, and basically, RiceVest actually just helps you. It helps you invest in foreign stocks and euro bonds and even foreign housing as well from Nigeria. There's also a company called Pro Finance or Bamboo or even Chaka. They all help you invest in foreign stocks or even stocks in Nigeria as well, from Nigeria. With Carrywise as well. Carrywise also helps you invest in treasury bills and other money market instruments from Nigeria as well. So if you want to let's say treasury bills or government bonds, you can go through Cowrywise. If you want to invest in let's say, things like stocks or euro bonds or even housing, like which is again real estate, you can go through a Rise Best or a True Finance, for instance. Those are apps that work in Nigeria that allow you, and I think for most of these apps, it does not 5K or $10. You can start investing with them. So yeah, those are places that you can find those assets to invest in.
Okay. Somebody is asking if you could give the names of the fintech apps you use.
Okay, so I personally use Cowrywise and PiggyVest for my savings, right? Yeah. So like for my savings, I use those apps because they're like savings app. While for when it comes to investing, actually, I use RiseVest, and for RiseVest, they allow you access dollar investments. Again, back to what I said about currency devaluation, right? You want to ensure that your money is actually in a place where it is gaining interest above the currency issues that we're seeing in Nigeria. So I mean, to beat that currency issue, I use RiseVest. Because they allow me invest in foreign stocks and foreign housing and all that stuff. And I also use Trove Finance as well. So as a summary, I'll say I use Rise, Piggyvest, Trove, and then RiseVest.
Okay, ma. There's another question on the screen.
Okay, yes, I can see that. As someone with a low income, what kind of financial discipline can they embark on to achieve their goals? So first of all, I would say again, spending, what you're spending, right? I feel like for most young people, we spend so much on things that are not very important, and then you're not able to save money because you do not spend. I mean, you be spending irresponsibly, right? So I think just watching your spending is very critical. That's the first step, because I mean, if you're just spending money, that means you're not able to save money, right? You can only save money when you have something left after spending. And that's why I always say that when you get income as a young person, try to save before you spend, not save after you spend. So let's say you get your monthly income of let's say 10K, and you've agreed that you want to save 1K every month. Take out that 1K and put it somewhere else, and then spend the remaining 9K. If you decide to spend, let's say spend first, like if you want to say like you want to spend first and then save later, most times you see that at the end of the month you'll not have any money left, to save. So it's always good to form the habit of saving first before spending, instead of the other way around. Now, for someone that has low income, I would say first of all, try and cut down and what you're spending. Are there areas that you spend on that I mean that you can afford to cut out? Then cut it down, right? Also, try to also live by a budget. Basically, what I've said before, live by a budget. Try to kind of like plan for your money, right? When you plan for your money, you're able to spend responsibly, right? So plan for your money, try to, but it's also just have a limit, so you can probably have like let's say a daily limit. So when I was in school, I used to have like a daily limit on how much I want to spend. So I'll say, okay, you know what, I want to spend only 1K today, right? And that is it. So once that 1K finishes, like that is it. So you can also have that kind of discipline, so that you know what, every month I will only spend 1K, or every day only 1K, so that you're able to kind of like meet your goals faster. Also, I would say if you see that you're not able to get if you see that your income is just not enough for you, you can also think about getting other side hustles, right? Or to get some extra side income. Because sometimes, no matter how hard you try, your income might just be like too small, or just not enough for you to meet all your needs as a human being, right? All your basic needs as a human being. So you might also want to think about what are other side things I can do to generate income, such that I'm still able to get money, to meet my needs. So basically, in a summary, I would say, try to have a budget and live by it. Have like a monthly or like a daily limit for your spending. Also, try to just save before you spend. Don't spend before you save. And then also just if you need to go get like a second income stream, so that you can also use that to supplement your current or your existing income as well.
All right. Thank you so much for that. There are no questions anymore. So, thank you so much, Miss Chidinma, for explaining the nitty gritties of savings and investment. And from JCI Uniben, we have a little token of appreciation for you, the certificate of appreciation, and we are
Oh,
grateful. We are saying thank you for honoring our invitation. Thank you for explaining and teaching to us.
thank you. Thank you so much.
So, guys, what do we have to say to Miss Chidinma? Because I learned a lot, obviously, on saving, and I'm sure every other person did too. Yes. So, guys, let's say thank you before she leaves finally. Thank you so much. So,
You're
Ma,
welcome.
have a nice day. Thank you. So, guys, our next session is by 2 p.m. We're having a panel session with Steve Harris, Elisha Maman, Hilda Kraga, Femi Tiamiyu, and they'll be talking on employability, or they'll be answering questions basically on employability, business, leadership, and the likes. Before I go, JCI Nigeria, South and Southeast Collegiate is having an employability training. It's happening now already on Zoom, and the link is showing on your screen. You can see the link on your screen, and the link is also in the comment section. So if you're interested, you can click on the link and quickly join them. So, guys, I'll see you by 2 p.m. Remember to continue sharing the link, even though it's just two more sessions we have, but just share to your friends because I'm sure the panel session is going to be really, really, really hot. Yeah. So just share the links to your friends, to everybody you know. You can also put it on your social media pages, your social media handles, talk about what you've learned so far and, tag JCI, Uniben and all of that. Till I come your way again, it is bye-bye from this end. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget to join by 2. Keep your eyes glued on the Telegram screen.